All right, hey, what's up, guys? It's Tim with the August 2019 Facility Programming Overview. I'm already sharing my screen. I want to go over the priorities of this training cycle for the month, and especially because it's the transitional month of this cycle, right? That we're showing how it's going to build up towards our end tests and what the parts of each day of the week are in the design and how they fit towards our overall program design. Okay, so we have a lot to do here. The main pieces I want to focus on first are going to be linear, how the days and the priorities are, again, in this training block, and then how they fit laterally across the board and across the week, and then into our testers. So big review, I wrote them up on the board here. Our tests again, Monday was close grip bench press and Helen. Tuesday was our Oli complex, front squat, and a 1K row for lactic power. Wednesday was Filthy 50, high aerobic muscle endurance, trying to work density in the contractions there with some moderate complexity. Thursday was functional bodybuilding, increasing complexity in our density, our grunt work there. And then Friday was heavy deadlifts and a short CP endurance mixed piece there as we increase complexity on that. So those again were the priorities here. Starting off Monday, right, we're building up, and you'll see the end of the cycle here goes to our floor press and weighted pull-ups. So we have horizontal pushing, vertical pulling, weighted strict pull-up into a moderate aerobic power tester. That's the 1K row, 50 swings, 30 dips. So kind of like an upside down Jackie. All right, working positional front squats and push press. So front squatting and then push press, single arm left and right for 5-rep load on each side. Staggered stance RDL. Over here, functional bodybuilding and structural balance, dumbbell chainsaw row, and some muscle endurance. And then finally, box squatting to a tough set of 5. So that finished off the first cycle. The real big part of this 3-week cycle here we're going to go over is building up that we're introducing out of lactic power, right? We were doing a lot of like short, hard row repeats, sled push, etc. Now we're doing that with some complexity. So you'll see we have snatch grip deadlift and horizontal pulling combined with 4 sets, 20 seconds on times 3 stations, row for calories, dumbbell power snatch, and a lateral burpee box jump. So it's not super complex, but it's going to be less complex than, say, trying to do Amanda or squat snatches with a barbell plus, handstand push-ups in lactic power. It's going to be really hard to express that system for people because either muscle endurance is low or the technique ability is low. So these are ones most people can get after. We obviously have the scaling parts for you here, and it's going to progress. So week 1 here, we go down. Week 2, snatch grip deadlift gets heavier. We did last cycle split stance RDL. Now it's positional deadlifts. Next cycle will build up to, as I scroll down here, after snatch grip deadlifts, we work up to sumo deadlifts. You got it. So sumo deadlifts into full deadlifts along the way. So we're building back up to retesting that 1-rep deadlift from, again, bodybuilding standpoint into snatch positional work, into a sumo deadlift that we can go fairly heavy, and into full deadlifts. So that's the idea there. And we're going to build up to that lactic tester here on week 3, 20 calorie row, 20 alt arm dumbbell power snatch, 20 burpee box jump overs, 1 time through. Should take about the same time as a 1K row. So that's the idea there. And so those were lower output on the absolute load piece. We're building up here on our back squat strength, endurance, and absolute strength portion. So it's build up to 80% and then 85%. You can do sets of 5 and sets of 3. So you're working up to a fairly tough set. And then AMRAP at that load. So working on neuromuscular endurance and also hypertrophy at those heavier loads. So that's the idea of these other pieces here that are going to work really good for increasing leg endurance. That builds up to, what do we have? We have Karen here at the end. So we're building up to that piece there that people are going to need leg endurance. And what does that Karen build up to? That's going to be leg endurance we need for things like moderate load thrusters coming up. We'll talk about that in a second. So that's that second piece there. You'll see on the wall ball workout here, 8-minute AMRAP, unbroken wall ball, every break 5 dips. Well, we are testing Karen here. We want people to use their legs more than just their shoulders because legs will last longer. So the dip as the penalty there for every break is by design to make them have to use their legs more once shoulders are fatigued. So when we remove that penalty there, they're going to have hopefully better leg endurance that will get them through towards the end of that workout. Okay, so we have leg endurance there. On the second day, it's our longer aerobic power pieces. So we have some higher rep aerobic workouts with some gymnastics upper body pulling. We have 3 minutes of strict pull-ups and different grip work in the upcoming weeks that are gonna build up to, they're gonna build up to Nicole, right? 20-minute AMRAP, 400-meter run, max rep, unbroken pull-ups. That can be kipping or strict depending on which type of training you choose for your clients. We'll look at those too. For Nicole, for most people, in 20 minutes, they can get to at least 90 pull-ups, a lot of people, right? Fran, as we increase lactic power and out of cyclical into mixed modal, meaning they're doing it with some complexity here on Monday, down to Fran, which is higher complexity, right? We're gonna go through that. Can they get double the output of what Fran requires? So here's the test, right? Fran's 45 pull-ups. For most people, we want to have double the volume in training to where we whittle it down to intensity. Now 45 pull-ups is something they can do with pace, right? That's something they can do with pace. So if they can't get to 90 pull-ups or roughly even 75, 80 in Nicole, can they do Fran? Yeah, they can. Can they express Fran properly? Probably not, meaning it's going to be too much muscle endurance as a limiter, and it won't be central fatigue and lactic power, right? So that's why we put these two here. So next month when we go to that tester, they built up leg endurance from the back squat, strength endurance, absolute strength. Their strength is heavier than we need for the thruster. Their leg endurance is good from the higher up wall balls. And then Nicole, they have the aerobic piece for recovery and the pull-ups. When you put those two together, what do you have? Fran, if you also combine the energy system together, right? And again, not that our training is built around Fran, but you see how we're using that to put together. I'm going to go to the whiteboard here in a second and break that all down. Okay, so hopefully that's making sense where we're building these progressions to. After a high rep, harder muscle endurance, single movement muscle endurance piece, we have functional bodybuilding here. Right, we have close grip bench press building up here after our tester. There we did floor press last week. We had close grip bench press. Next cycle we go to strict press in a complex over here. So we build up a little heavier strength here, go to vertical pushing there, and we're gonna go back around into handstand push-ups for that Friday CP piece, which is generally limited by strict press ability. That's gonna help our handstand push-ups without having to do handstand push-ups every week. Right? I think they're of moderate test for some people, but they don't fit for everyone, but everyone benefits from strict press. So we're working on the inputs to help build out bigger pieces. Okay, the workout is gonna be here, different higher rep contraction muscle endurance pieces. So we've been working on that for, say, Filthy 50, building muscle endurance. So we have some pieces there. And finally, on Friday, we're working the OLE complexes. Right? I'm not the biggest fan for group classes of heavy single lifts because most people are limited by what? Absolute strength to express their OLE lifts. So we have a lot of that in our competitors training before class. We do have it throughout different pieces, but the OLE lifts are going to work really well for everyone here because it's going to work on good positions, high time under tension, which is also good for body composition, also good for making the movements really, really good and efficient. Also, that's going to be strength, speed, endurance. What is a thruster? What is a high rep thruster? It's generally speed, strength, endurance. So we always want to work the piece before that, increase your ability to do, something like 3 power clean, 3 front squat, 3 shoulder to overhead, for example, which was our tester. To do that to where now, right, we can do that at reps. So instead of doing, let's say you can do 3, 3, and 3 at 180. Good. Can you do thrusters at 95 pounds? Yeah, probably a lot easier. And it also that means if you can do your back squat for higher reps, say at 270, and that OLE complex at 180 feels easier, and those thrusters now are feeling easier. So again, without having to do 2 months of Fran or Helen or Karen or whatever benchmark you want to do or functional bodybuilding retest, again, we can hit these different pieces and then build up that into different retesters where you'll see here, big clean complex into 500-meter row for time. Classic LP, right? Just nasty, get after it, low skill. So that's the idea. I'm gonna go to the whiteboard now and put this piece together for you here. What I wanna show, again, you don't know I'm going Instagram live now, so you see me looking down because of the people. So, okay, so let's look at it here. Structural balance. where are we at? We have, on some of the days, right, let me pull the screen back up, right here. So we have functional bodybuilding, right, for structural balance. We have hinge, right, and we have snatch, DL, that's hinge, right, stability, plus opposite day is single leg deadlift. So those two are opposite pieces that fit together for hinge balance. Positional, not super heavy, plus single leg, and we have the endurance from the workout piece, right? We have the squatting balance, right? So we have single leg Zercher lunge, plus the Oli complex, right? Piece, so that's the front squat piece. So we have those two pieces. So see how these two pieces balance, snatch grip deadlift and single leg deadlift on opposite pieces of the week, or balance, we're not just going deadlift, deadlift. Even though deadlifting is important, there's a way we build those pieces up throughout the cycle to get us to come back to having a heavy single deadlift. Okay? Same with the squatting, upper body push, right? What's the upper body pull? We have horizontal pull on Monday. How come? Why do we have horizontal pull on Monday for horizontal pull heavy, right? Why aren't we doing prone row for sets of 8 or 10 for muscle endurance, right? How come? Okay, because on Wednesday is Nicole, and that's high rep body weight muscle endurance, right? So we need the heavier load horizontal to balance out with the vertical higher rep contraction load on Wednesday. Okay, so you see how those two pieces fit together. And finally, upper body push, right? We have on Tuesday, let me go back to the screen real quick. There we go. Okay, all right. We have the vertical push for reps, plus close grip bench press, close grip bench press for load throughout the week. So you see how that's how we're balancing those pieces out, in addition to carries, in addition to the Turkish get-ups, dragon flags, positional pieces that we're working throughout the training. Structural balance is in here. Okay, so hopefully that part is number one, making sense. Okay, number two, let's look at this from a body comp perspective, right? We have functional, that's where a lot of our members are looking really to get better at body comp. They say, cool, I'm glad I have structural balance. They may not really know what that means, may not really mean a lot to them. What they're looking for is here. So that's why we have functional bodybuilding, right, 2 times, plus structure, right here where we're doing snatch grip deadlift, balance again our single leg deadlift, Zercher lunge, etc., right, to do that. Combined with the Oli is a complex, right, so that's high TUT is time under tension. We have high time under tension there, right, made my little cheat sheet, plus muscle endurance, right, MEND is muscle endurance in case you're wondering what the heck that means. Right, plus a little bit, right, plus density, which we'll talk about here, plus just a little bit of LP, right? A little bit of lactic power can be good hormonally and good body comp changes, but too much every day hitting LP over and over, 2 things happen, right? One, people can't recover from it. Same thing with the CNS, why we said we're balancing out front squat as a tester and deadlift, and not back squat as a tester and deadlift with a bunch of harder pieces in the middle. Too much to recover from. When they can't recover from it, their bodies can't make the adaptation that we're thinking we're putting it on paper. That's when people look at it too much on a one-day approach and not about the whole system. Okay? So that's the idea there. But a little bit of LP and touches can help improve body composition changes. Okay? So there's that. Next we have let's see what they're looking for, right? Next up, our other priority, let's say high muscle contraction, right? We're a little bit of ways outside of, say, the open or qualifiers or whatever people are doing for that. Part of being good in fitness is being able to do not just high muscle endurance, but in workouts, high muscle endurance, high contractions are made sustainable. So before we did alphabet soup, constant variance where it's like 15 wall ball, 15 swings, row 15 cal, 15 box jump, whatever, 15 burpees. you rotate through those in intervals to get the same pace. Well, intervals look good. Even in testers, intervals look good. Eventually, we pull away that interval, pull away the rest period, and they should be able just to go straight through and do a bunch of reps without stopping. So that's why Filthy 50, moderate complexity, is good for density. So here for density, we have, it is the functional bodybuilding piece plus the aerobic, right? Usually muscle endurance is going to be limited by strength endurance, muscle endurance, or the aerobic ability to continue to breathe while those contractions are happening, right? The high time under tension, that's an up arrow, high time under tension, right there is really important. The unbroken with complexity, right there, is super important. And that together, we'll see this equals the Filthy 50, right? That's the idea there. So you see how these pieces, how we're doing it, none of this training looks like any of the tests, right? None of the training looks like the test unless you know what you're looking for. So for your clients, they should be getting, again, progressively in 3-week blocks. It does follow, so they get some reps to get better at it and get comfortable and not like, I'm just starting to get it, and you shifted and you're like, sorry, tough crap. We're gonna get them some reps, getting more comfortable at it. At the same time, these tests at the end, it's not 12 weeks of a deadlift cycle, right? That's gonna be boring, right? Does that make sense? Finally, here's where it gets really fun, right? We said LP. So our test, only complex, that's strength, speed, right? Strength, speed, speed, strength is really good for both CP battery and then lactic power. Those two kind of are on the spectrum together. Once it's not CP battery, has a little more turnover, it becomes lactic power, right? If it doesn't have enough turnover and it's supposed to be lactic, it's either just muscle endurance or hopefully CP are going to be the pieces it ends up being. Can it be other stuff? Yeah, that's where we hope it turns out. Okay? So our 1K row here is really good because it's cyclical. People can express that system. That's why an air bike, everyone gets broken off, right? But Annie is good at skill, but it's hard to be like, oh my God, I'm vomiting, Annie got me, right? It's just not the same. So here's the idea. So this month, we have LP. We have day 1, we have mixed LP, low to moderate skill. And that's the row, dumbbell power snatch, and burpee box jump over, right? Those movements, right? And you can do slam ball instead of dumbbell power snatch. All really simple to do, right? Relative, it's hard to do, expressing the right power. That's why we adjust loads to that. But for most people, you can get them, we can target it, and we've done that to where every group in your gym is going to be able to really express that system relative to their goals, right? Some new people won't, but we have new people, they shouldn't be focusing on lactic power, right? So it's enough for them to really feel, for everyone else, like they're able to express that. I built up on the 1K row. Now it's cyclical. We introduce some low skill movements. From there, what else do we need to do really good at Safe Fran, right? We need, right, strength, endurance, specifically speed, strength, endurance, right? So what are the limiters to speed, strength, endurance? Well, first is one limiter. We always go up is strength, speed, endurance. And what's that? Oh, great, that's the OLE complex. That's strength, speed, endurance, right? So we raise the ceiling on that. Good job, we got that better, right? Now we introduce the muscle endurance specific. So now we have our back squat endurance plus Karen, right? You can do Karen in a really good time. Your leg's probably not going to burn out from the thrusters as long as you have enough strength, why the back squat endurance has to go up, right, to express that. Again, if your max back squat's 21 pounds, well, you might be able to do a 20-pound wall ball, but not for very long. But if you can back squat 300, guess what? And you have good endurance and aerobic system, now you're going to be good. And what is coming up Wednesday there? We have plus long AER, right? Long aerobic plus upper body vertical pull, right? Leading up to Nicole, right? 20-minute AMRAP, 400-meter run, max rep pull-ups, kipping, strict. We have variations for everyone depending on where you're at. So everyone gets the right training for them. But they get those pieces. So now they've got 2 times the pull-up knee, right? So that means they can do 90 or more, hopefully. And that, again, this is someone looking to get a really solid lactic power expression here, there. Plus they have the AER plus leg endurance plus squat has gone up, right? What does that look like? Yeah, say it with me if you're watching. Yeah, what does that look like? Equals a big Fran VR. So we're hitting multiple pieces. Again, structural balance, that's the base. We don't skip that step, right? Number 2, body comp. All right, we're focusing on that as the output based on these pieces. So we had to look at all these pieces in designing the program. Number 3, density. Helping make sure that muscle endurance and contractions are both sustainable and they can do those before we start loading up harder pieces. And then finally, right, lactic power. They've done their aerobic work, they've done their higher strength work, they're able to express some of those pieces there in mixed conditioning. So what does the workouts look like? The workouts look, again, they look relatively simple because we chose, hopefully, the right pieces and that you as a coach is on the floor are going to make the right adjustments to them to go, based on where we know we're going, here's the adjustment you need. And that's where it always comes down to, right? These are coaching education pieces that without that, you can see the same programming and go, looks like it's a month of this. I want to make sure you know that this is where we're going. So now you and your staff can look at this, make the right changes, and get people all these awesome parts. And if you can do that for someone, they're crushing it and they're coming back to your gym happy, healthy, and what's the third H? We can talk about that as a staff, but it's a good one. And that's August 2019, guys. I appreciate it. Go out there and coach the crap out of them. Thanks.